All right, welcome back to another episode. It's about time. We took a 2 week little vacay. I apologize for that. That's kind of on my fault. Jose's still on vacation though, so I mean I can't apologize
Apparently,
for him. Yeah, so
apparently,
I can't apologize for him. But we're doing another remote episode here,
the
here in Los
strong,
Poleros.
the
Yeah, the
strong
strong,
remain. The
for
strong
sure,
remain.
for sure. Welcome to the Poleros, Juli, man. How you feeling, man?
Let me tell you something. It was touch and go there. I was in a coma for about
Yeah,
what is it, like a month and a half now, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't see the Peru game.
yeah,
I didn't see
I
it.
did.
I know you did. I know you did, but I did not see that game.
Yeah, that
I
was
was
rough.
just I was checked out, and then the only reason I saw the game was because my dad was like, "Hey, the game's here comes." And if it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't have watched the
You wouldn't
Argentina
have watched
game.
the game.
Now I'm back. I am dreaming.
Wow.
I am
Because you were
dreaming
gone.
again. I was
You were
gone.
like, yo, I'm tired. You were like, I'm tired, dude. I don't want to do it. I don't want to
I
do it
haven't
anymore.
seen a single soccer game.
Yeah.
I haven't
You
seen
were drained.
ni Santa Fe, none of them. No Real
Wow.
Madrid, none of them. I was checked out. And now slowly slowly, I'm like, all right, it's what I love, so I have to watch it again, little by
Hmm.
little. I want to keep my feet welded to the goddamn floor
Right.
because it was tough this past summer. The summer,
Yeah. This year's been tough. I mean, I know it's been tough for you, but it's also been tough for me because on the football side of things, I know we're talking about soccer right now, but I had the Niners losing the Super Bowl, so I mean, it's been a little rough, and I'm kind of getting back into football again. So we'll see how the rest of the year goes. But I get it. I totally get it. You're
football's
drained, and
back for week
yeah, yeah, yeah.
one. So
Week
I
one.
mean,
Yeah.
I
Shout
think
out to
I
my
think this.
fantasy teams.
And
Number one.
shout out to the fantasy team that we're about to start with the Champions League too. So I have
Yes,
to
we're
start
about to
watching the
start that.
games.
Very
But
exciting. Very exciting.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's not soccer's fault. It's
Yeah.
my fault. I
Yeah.
have to learn how to manage my feelings. So that's something that I have to learn. All
It's
right.
tough.
So it's tough, but you got to do it because you're the only idiot that suffers. Like I was in pain for a month, and everybody was having a great time,
Yeah.
and that's not true. But let's get into this qualifier, bro.
Oh
This
my
qualifier
God.
has been insane,
These
insane.
past two little fixtures, right? These last 2 weeks were just. Oh, this last week was just nuts, right? It started off with
Wait,
Friday's games
give
and
me
heading into Tuesdays.
because we forgot to do something extremely important.
Oh shoot! Yes, we
Extremely
did.
important. Because without this, there's no reason to do this goddamn podcast. There we go. Guys, grab a beer. And now let's dive into you and your
I didn't have any. I'm sorry. I was trying not to show it.
at least you're drinking.
Yeah.
We'll
Cheers.
continue. We'll push through. Cheers, guys. Grab a beer at home.
I gotta buy beers, man, because I really don't buy beers. I don't drink at home by myself. I only drink with you, essentially.
If you drink by yourself, give me a call, bro. There's something happening there. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
you should
yeah,
drink by
exactly.
yourself. There's something
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
So, and at home, if you ever want to just talk, don't drink by yourself. It's sad. Trust me, I've
Right?
done it. It's sad.
It's a tough thing. It's a tough thing. But let's get into these qualifiers.
Let's get into them.
I mean, Jesus. Let me pull up Friday's results here, and I'll share this. I'll share it on the screen so we could all see it. But it was, I guess, surprising. I mean, this is the first game since the Copa America. Since we had kind of like left that whole realm. As you see here on the screen, we got Uruguay, Paraguay, Peru, Colombia, which is not my favorite game. Brazil, Ecuador. I think before that we had, there it is, Bolivia, Venezuela, Argentina, Chile. So they played the day before. Um, what stands out to you, man? First things first. What stands out to you?
To me, the most amazing thing about this last two like World Cup the fechas the World Cup,
Yeah,
Bolivia. The fact that they were thought about just gone. They don't have a chance. This team is not gonna make it. They have to
who
make a
is this
plan.
Bolivia team? Who is this Bolivia team? Where do they come from?
They're back in. They're 1 point away from Brazil. Can you believe that? They're
I mean,
one
I feel
point away
like
from Brazil.
the last time I look, so I was introduced into soccer around '93 when Colombia beat Argentina. I started getting into it, and that was when Bolivia made the World Cup. So in my mind, Bolivia was not a bad team. And then from there, it was just like a collapse, right? It was like I was like flipped over, and I was like, oh my god, like Bolivia's terrible. Like this guy, this team is nothing. And here they are about to creep into 2026. You know,
They're
because they
they're,
were
they're
probably
tied. They're tied with Paraguay on spot number 7, which is the repechaje,
yeah,
the half of a coupon that we have to for the
right.
World Cup. But I mean, Bolivia. I was reading this earlier. Bolivia last time they won as a visitor was in 1993,
There you go. Boom
and,
shakalaka.
and that's the problem. Bolivia has always been strong at home. It's been
Yeah,
very hard
to
to
win
win in
away.
Bolivia. I mean,
Yeah,
Bolivia over there, the height, the lack of oxygen, people literally 15 minutes into the game and they're gone. The way the ball moves because of the lack of air, you
right.
shoot from half field, that thing might go in.
Which is the crazy thing is that teams are still able to beat Bolivia, right? Like 1-0, get away with like a 2-1, like something like
And
along
that
those
and
lines,
that's why
right?
the thing is that the problem with Bolivia is that they sometimes let points go at home, which is their
Hmm.
strong suit, and they can't win outside of home.
Yeah.
So that's
Does
why
this
Bolivia hasn't been able to make it much.
is this Bolivia team like in your eyes a team that can get through? Is this a team that like has a legitimate shot to get through? Because I know Venezuela's getting stronger, and even though Chile and Peru are at the bottom of the barrel, like you know, like most some people might say, no, we just wait. They'll get on a streak and they'll go through. Like I don't know, like you know, is this for Bolivia to blow or is Bolivia like legit? All right, we're back. We had a little gaff there.
Uh,
Just
pay
went
your bills,
missing.
guys. Pay your
Yeah.
bills. This is what happens when you don't pay for your bills. Your
It just
Wi-Fi
went missing.
goes.
But that's
Your
okay.
Wi-Fi
We're
goes.
back on. We're back on. I caught it like like last bit. I didn't realize you were gone until I wasn't getting a response, and I was just like, you know, uh, hello, Bueller. You know, I couldn't. I didn't get anything. But Holy, what I was asking, you know, before you got cut off, is Bolivia the real team, right? Because you know Venezuela has been performing well, even though they got smashed 4-0, right? Like, um, there's also people that are sitting there and saying like, don't ever count out Chile and Peru, right? It's like that old uncle that you know that you don't really talk to anymore. It's like, you know, be careful with Chile and Peru, bro. They can still make it. You know, is this a team that can get the seventh or even just get in with top six? You know, I know Brazil's struggling,
One
but Brazil's
hundred
Brazil.
percent. 100%. Any team right now has a shot. Any team right now has a shot. And we just saw with Bolivia 2 games, and they went from being nothing, and they're right back in it. The amount of spots that we have for the World Cup is it allows for all 10 teams to have a possibility to go.
Yeah.
When we only had the four spots and the half a spot that they gave us that we had to, that team had to play an extra game,
Mm-hmm.
had to play a preliminary. It xed out 2 or 3 teams by this point.
Yeah.
If by this point you were ninth or 10th,
You were done.
you were basically out. I mean,
Yeah.
something amazing had to happen. You got me. So right now, the fact that we have 7 teams going, six and a half, it opens it up
Mm-hmm.
for everybody, for Venezuela, for Bolivia, and I think Bolivia is actually like they seen that and they're like, okay, if we don't go now, I mean, we need to stop playing soccer,
Mm-hmm.
and they
And this is
do
the
have
perfect moment.
the perfect one, and they do have the talent. They have good players. When they just haven't been able to tap into like the potential of the players they have. When they had Martins, one of the one of the like all time forwards,
Yeah.
that guy played for so many seasons, but they could never use him in a way that it would be productive for Bolivia. He would score every now and again, but they wouldn't win games. It's because they wouldn't set up a team right. And
Reminds
I
me of
think that
Pizarro in Peru.
100%. And they did have talent,
Yeah.
but they just couldn't put him in a spot where they could actually succeed. And that has a lot to do with coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, one of the biggest schools in the world for coaching is Argentina. Argentina's coaches are high valued because they create a system where the team grows as
Yeah.
a nationality. Colombia, Peru, Ecuador. I think out of the 10 teams, all of them have Argentinian coaches, with the exception of
Yeah.
Brazil, that Brazil will never have an Argentinian coach, and maybe Bolivia. But
Yeah. That's it.
right now, the coaches that they're bringing in have that work ethic, and I think that that's why Bolivia is starting to succeed now.
Right.
We see that they're getting better. It's not going to be overnight. They might not make this World Cup, but they have a shot. And so does
But
Peru. So does Chile. Chile is the one that actually impressed, like disappointed me. Not impressed, disappointed me.
I
Dude,
beg
you
to
have
differ. I beg to differ, and here's why. I'm going to tell you why. I watched the Chile Argentina game. I thought Chile was playing better than they ever played in the previous qualifiers. I just think that it's going to take Gareca a little bit of time to get that team rolling, but they were moving better. Like, I mean, I remember a couple of fixtures ago, Chile played Peru, and I don't know if you remember, we all were like, that game was horrible. Like, it was just a pathetic game. Or it was the
I
Copa.
wasn't I, I wasn't talking about Argentina. Argentina, when any team, when it's Brazil or Argentina, that and you're not actually home, those are 3 points that you are willing to part with because that's how dominant they are in South America. Those two teams. However, Chile's game against Argentina, we saw some good things. They lost though, which is basically in the books. Like you have that. Okay,
Mhm.
these are 3 points that that I can lose, but I can still make the World Cup. But the way that they 3-0, lose 1-0, be smart about it. But goal differential, goal
Yeah.
differential has kept Colombia out of two World Cups.
Yeah, I agree. No, I think Chile fell apart because in the first half and like until the Argentina scored in the
And
45th.
that's and that's surprising me because someone
Yeah,
like Gareca that knows the system, that knows how to set up systems, why are you falling apart? All right, we're down 1-0. We're not creating enough because Chile was playing well, but they
mhm,
weren't creating opportunities. They were
yeah.
touching the ball around. But be smart about it.
In Gareca's defense, I think it's still too early, and it's probably one of those things that got out
I'm
of
not
his
saying to
hands.
take. I'm yeah, but I'm not saying to take out Careca. I'm just surprised, and I thought
No,
I was
yeah,
expecting at least 3 points from Chile.
yeah. My
Three
shocker,
points,
my shocker of that fixture was Uruguay, right? And Uruguay has been a team that has like lately been like the little under the
under the
radar.
radar.
Like, yeah, we're like that good. In Copa America, people kept saying Brazil, Colombia, Uruguay. Those are the three teams that get out of that side, right? And Uruguay was one of those that once they got through Brazil was like a lot of people were looking at them like, all right, these guys have a legitimate contendership to go and play against Argentina in the finals. I'm sure we all respected it. I know we all went into that semifinals respecting. We were confident, but we respected Uruguay. And Uruguay comes out of this Copa America, and I don't know if it's because they lost Darwin for a couple games or whatever the case may be. I forgot how many the games were suspended, but against Paraguay, it was just nothing. There was nothing there. It was 0-0. Obviously, in hindsight, what Paraguay did in the next fixture was amazing, but Uruguay kind of shocked me in this game, and then in the next fixture, they did the same thing. They tied and gave Colombia the opportunity to take over second place.
How many starters did they have? Starters that were that they could actually like. How do I phrase this? How many
Like how many
starters
missing?
did they actually have exactly in these two games?
Um,
Because I know for a fact that Uruguay didn't. Half of their team, starting team, couldn't play. That's
well, let's
Darwin
look at it.
Nunez.
So we got, you know, Carecas, Olaza, Marichal, Ugarte, Nández, Valverde, Araujo, Suarez was in, Rodriguez, Pelistri.
See, let's look at the game against Uruguay, Colombia, and the world in the lineups. I have it here if you want. Darwin Nunez couldn't play, right?
Uh-huh.
Then we have Bernardo Brian Rodriguez.
Right. He's in there.
He's in there.
Yeah.
De la Cruz,
Not in there. Let's see if we were subbed out. Nope. Not there.
Ugarte,
Ugarte's there.
Ugarte is there. Okay, Nandes,
Nández is there.
Araujo.
Araujo is there.
No, that's Maximiliano Araujo. I'm talking about Araujo, the defensive midfielder, the defensive back, the center back for
Was not there.
not there. Cáceres.
Cáceres is there.
I think Cáceres. Piqueres.
Not there.
So out of the starting lineup,
Hmm.
three. Was
Yeah, so we're missing a couple players.
we're missing 4 or 5 players that for a team that's still being they're in that lapse of like the regenerating because Cavani's no longer there. Lucho Suarez's last game was this World Cup qualifying. They're in that transition, and some of the key components of this transition weren't there. So a 0-0 without your key players against Paraguay, a team that has really been hit and miss. Not hit and miss. It's been a lot of misses with Paraguay. It's not bad because they're all really young players. Bielsa's bringing in some really young players to this team.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that bad. They
Does
didn't
this
lose.
right? They didn't lose, but does this turn into a situation where Uruguay, maybe potentially instead of 2026, realistically is aiming for a 2030 like competitive form Uruguay?
Definitely. These
Okay.
kids are what the oldest one I think was after Lucho Suarez is Darwin Nunez, and they're like 25.
Yeah,
This guy's bringing Bielsa's bringing some young talent to this team, and
he
you
is.
have to watch out because Uruguay is all about the process. They did it with the old coach Tavares. He brought in that golden era because they let him work. He brought in Cavani super young. He brought in Lucho Suarez super young. He got rid of Recoas. He got rid of a bunch of, because it was past their time. And like, no, I don't want to use the old heads that they're not gonna bring me any new competitive edge. Recoa at the time that he was there, it would have been like bringing in a pibe for 2002. Why?
Mhm.
So
Fair
I
enough.
think that that's a team to watch out for, and I think they did really well. They didn't lose points though.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Brazil gets a win against Ecuador 1-0. Um, any shocker there? I mean, I think Brazil, you expect Brazil to win at home. So they got the win.
Brazil got the win
Yeah, against Ecuador they did.
against Ecuador. I mean,
Yeah, that was
they're at
Friday the
home.
6th.
They're at
Yeah, they're
home.
at home. Right.
But this
Uh,
this 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 Brazil side has been ass.
yeah, we'll
Let's
get
call it how it is.
we'll get more into that, a little bit, when we talk about the next fixture. But the last matchup of that day was Peru Colombia, a game that I think a lot of Colombians were very disappointed. They were looking for the 3 points, especially because they were playing Argentina next. And the sentiment was, oh well, we got to get 3 points against Peru because if we lose to Argentina, at least we got 3 points in the first game of the fixtures, which is a shitty mentality to have, right? Because to me it was like, well, fuck, you're already giving yourself up against Argentina, a team that took over 90 minutes to beat us. It wasn't like they beat us in 90 minutes. They beat us in overtime when we were exhausted, when we didn't have our best players on the field, and you're already conceding to Argentina, which I felt was like kind of like a shitty mentality to have. But this game against Peru, I felt Peru came out strong. I felt like they came out like looking for, obviously they don't have the talent. They don't necessarily have the talent to beat Colombia like that, but they came out like fighting. They didn't come out scared, which was a whole different Peru from that game against Ecuador, because against Ecuador, like I don't know what the coach did on the lineup, but just was the complete opposite of what they did against Colombia. So I don't know if it was because it was in Ecuador and they were playing at home against Colombia that they felt like they needed to show out. But very disappointed in Peru, like only getting the 1 point. I know it's against Colombia and stuff like that, but they had the lead. They had the lead, and then I remember saying to the
And Colombia
guys,
didn't play
like, I
well.
don't know, Colombia
Uh,
didn't play well, and I
Let me tell you,
said,
I didn't
oh
see that game. I didn't see the game.
yeah, yeah,
I
you
didn't
weren't
see the
paying
game
attention much.
because we were having a couple beers, and I was like I told you at the beginning, I was emotionally checked out. I wasn't there
Yeah.
anymore. Now I heard about some of the analysis. I saw after the Argentina game. I've seen the game. I saw it. Colombia didn't play well.
Mhm.
Colombia didn't play well, and the fact that they
James.
didn't the fact that they didn't put James in, it shows that how important that player is for Colombia. Now, it's not just because it's James. Yes, it's because Colombia needs a 10. South American soccer needs a creative player. This myth that we've brought up that number 10 player is obsolete, that the people that the 10 is extinct. No. And they still have them in today's game. They just have different rules. It's not gonna be soccer has evolved. It's not gonna be the same 10 that we saw as El Pibe or Riquelme. No. Now they have to ask to run a little bit more. They're asked to actually mark, but we need a 10. And I think that's one of the main reasons that Colombia never felt comfortable offensively. Not only because Peru actually played a great game,
Hmm.
It's because they didn't have that man in the middle that was creative, that could associate with a right back, with a left back, and then go forward and with the forward, send the long ball through. They didn't have that. The only two players that could do that are Arias and Rios, but there was no connection with Sinesterra, Cordova, and Diaz. So the 10 there,
Yeah.
Colombia lost. And it's not just because honest. They put in Quintero, give him a shot. Why didn't they play Quintero?
Well, let me ask you this: like, what's the from 1 to 10? What is the panic for you as far as like, let's say, God forbid, James tears an ACL, or James is like, like gone for the World Cup or something like that, kind of like Falcao was. Like, where's your panic level from 1 to 10 for this Colombia
10.
team?
10.
This team can't survive without James.
Without the function of what James does.
Of a James. I mean,
You get
Quintero
me?
seems like he's a good player to put in, but he
I
hasn't
think
gotten the
Quintero's a great
minutes.
player. The only problem with Quintero is that he never performs in Colombia. Quintero's a
Yeah,
great player, but Quintero never plays in Colombia. Let me ask you this: when was the last time that you saw Quintero have a good game with Colombia? A full
Japan,
game.
Japan,
How long ago was that?
2018. Yeah, yeah, 6 years ago. So there you go.
And do you have another one?
No, I don't. I can't think of any others. Not off the
And he's
top
a
of my head.
great player. He's a great
But I
player.
also feel
But
like he comes off the bench. He doesn't get the opportunity to actually start. You know what I mean? Like I think that's the other issue too. I mean,
so he's a
I get
bench
it.
player. So
Right.
he's a bench player.
Mark your
So
minutes.
he's not the substitution in the long run. He's just a substitution for a game because you're only gonna get 30 minutes out of the guy. So the what worries me more is that we're not creating those tens. We're
Yeah.
not creating that type of player. What I would do, honestly, I would give Yasser Asprilla a shot. Let him play 10. He's in Girona. This is the first he had a good year in Watford, I believe it was in the English Premier League.
Yeah.
Let him go. Déjeme
Give him
jugar
a
a ese
shot.
man.
Yeah. I agree with that sentiment. Give him a shot, right? I mean, what is the worst thing that can happen? He doesn't perform. I mean, okay, we'll go back to the drawing board,
But he's
but
22. He's
right.
22, 21. He's young. Let's see him play. If they give that a chance, I think Colombia has I mean, I think we could replace some of what James does, but we're not going to replace James. We just have to replace his functionality, which is we need a player in the middle that's creative, creative, a 10. And every single team that's successful has had it. They're
I
not
agree.
called. They're no longer those tens like El Pibe that was just, dude. You don't have to do anything. Just walk around the field. No, but like Messi's that 10 for
And hold the
Argentina
ball.
now,
And hold the
and
ball,
holds
right?
the
I
ball.
don't
And
know. Yeah.
y es claro, something that we call in soccer, ser claro. Ser claro
Hmm.
is it's the easiest thing to do, but it's the hardest thing to do. Making
Yeah.
a correct pass at the correct time,
Hmm.
breaking lines. Not everybody could do that.
Yeah.
We need those type of players. And you know what the best part is? In South America, it's what we mostly create. And that's the reason that I don't think that myth, because
It's
yeah,
gone.
los europeos, no, 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 no. Que el mejor fútbol del mundo, que the best stars are always South American. And they were always tens. Now, Europe has also created some great tens. But look, consistently making tens, making creative players, those players that hold the ball, those players that are kind of like descarados with the ball, just showing up to you.
Yeah.
Mostly South American flair, bro. I'm sorry, but it's true.
I hear that. I feel that. We'll move on to the next
So
phase
the next
of
fixture.
games. Yeah, the next fixture of games, which is essentially what happened yesterday. All games were played yesterday, um, and obviously the one that jumps out the most is of the original Colombia Argentina matchup, the rematch of the Copa America. Um,
Final.
finally, finally, we are able to get a win.
How
This is
happy were you when you saw Dibu at
when
the
I
end of
saw
the game?
Dibu upset.
Yeah.
When I finally saw it, I had a smile. I had a good smile. We'll talk about that bad sportsmanship a little bit, but I was very happy to take out Argentina because especially when we had the penalty, which a lot of the Argentinians are upset that we had the penalty call. But hey, there's contact, right? Same thing with Argentina during the whole World Cup. They got all these
Where's the
penalties.
controversy? No man,
Yeah,
a joder.
yeah.
Where's the
No, come on, yeah.
controversy?
No,
The fuck you
come on,
talking
yeah.
about? That there's not that's a penalty.
That was a penalty. You made contact. He fell regardless if he exaggerated the fall. That's
Not only
exactly
did he
what you guys
exaggerate,
did.
he took his foot, his el pie de apoyo. I don't know how to say that in English.
Yeah,
His pivot foot,
the
the
supporting
one
foot,
that
the supporting foot. Yeah, yeah,
the
or a
supporting
supportive
foot,
foot.
his
Yeah,
pivot
yeah,
where you plant. It took it.
yeah.
He took it.
Took it out.
Foul.
Took it out completely.
And you know what
Um,
the best part is, and why the reason they call that penalty? Because it's a World Cup qualifier. Had that been the final, that penalty would not have been called. Want to know how I know? Because we saw it in the final. It's
yeah,
the
we had
same
a some.
exact foul
Yeah,
that Cordova had. It's the same foul.
right.
Same foul. It's a final. Now you can't call that there. Against Argentina, you can't call it. You can't call it.
And that's unfortunate, right? Because it's like just call it the way you're supposed to call it, right? Like if you're
If
gonna
it's a
call it
foul,
like that,
I
it's a
don't want
foul. It's
them
a
to give
foul,
us anything. I don't want
right?
them to give us anything. I just call it how it is, and
Call it
call it
every
both
single time.
ways. And
Yeah,
call
call
it
it
both
both ways.
ways.
Call it, which is my argument to every times that one of my teams loses because of the refs. If my team loses because the other team was better, fuck it. Like I'll take the L. But the thing that makes me lose sleep at night is when my favorite team loses because the ref had something to do with it. That's the moments that I lose sleep. That's the moments I gotta call out of work for a day or two and have mental days because those are
That's
the
when you
moments.
go on like a 3 day drinking bender
Yeah,
and fuck
a host
life.
about it, a host, because I can't deal with it because I'm like, God, like what is going through the ref's mind, right? Like those are the things that go through my head, and I'm like, if I had a conversation with the ref, what would I say without being pissed off? Like I would just have to be like, can you tell me what you saw there? Like one of those type of situations. Anyways, um, I think
Okay.
Colombia played good. I think they played with like almost like a we need to beat this effing team. The one thing that I don't know if you noticed on the first goal, I don't know if I'd have to watch the finals again, which is something that I don't necessarily want to do, and relive that. But if there's one thing that I noticed, correct me if I'm wrong, on the set pieces that Colombia had in the Copa America final, Debo was all over it. Like he every time the ball was crossed into his area, he was there first. Like he did
Mhm.
not allow any of those balls to get in. And something I feel like the coach, Nestor was like, you know what? I saw that. Let's try something different. Let's try to throw him off where like maybe we'll put someone like really close to him and make sure that he doesn't have the opportunity to go forward and get that ball. That's kind of like the way I saw the first goal happen with Mosquera. Like I don't know if you saw it the same way, but it looked like it was like a very like devious, like let's try to make sure Debu stays in his like inside his area and doesn't come out to go get those balls
I
if
think
we're
we
gonna be
approach the
successful.
set pieces. I think we approach the set pieces differently,
Yeah.
100%. But I also thought and this is where James came in. If you look at the game at the first goal, James looks when they get the free kick. James is jogging down the line. He looks down the line, and he sees something, and he plays it short.
Hmm.
He plays it to Arias.
Yeah.
Why? He saw something. He played it quick. He came in, he saw it, and then he started playing quick. And then he asked for it back again. If you see the set, Diwu is in his first post. He's not in the middle of the goal no more.
Yeah.
Something happens. He saw something. James made the decision to make him move out of the middle. And if you see, he plays it to the second post, and that pass was beautiful. But James saw something right
Yeah.
there. He made a quick pass, and he was like, "Give it to me again. Give it to me again." When they set him up again, la defensa just like the defense has shifted, and I don't know what he saw though. That's one thing that I would like to ask him. What did you see in that corner kick? Because
Yeah.
you played it quick, you didn't wait, and that's another thing. He didn't wait that long to set up. He didn't wait for the Argentina defensive team to actually set up. And I think that kind of threw him because Dibu there, he's tall. He's like what,
Yeah.
6 foot 6. Antonio Dibu. Let me look
Beats
it up.
me.
But that guy's huge. He was all over those, but we were taking our time. It was a bit too set up. This one was like more flowing, and I think that was
Mhm.
the decision making there. So I thought we did a lot better in that set piece.
Yeah, agreed on that. And I think I saw that too, and I was just kind of like excited to see that was the
Wow.
first goal.
I understand
So
why he
he's
was mad
six
now. It was
five.
just his birthday. His birthday was a couple days ago, September 2nd, and he
Oh well,
loses.
happy belated, you fucking faggot. Um,
6'5".
Debo
He's
six
6'5".
five.
6'5".
Jesus, I mean, this is Van der Sar style of a size goalie, right? but yeah, like I agree with that whole sentiment. You know what's crazy is that I didn't see Argentina's goal. I stepped away for a second, and I knew that the second half was about to begin. But usually you don't see goals that quick, and then all of a sudden, like I hear the goal, and I'm like, "Shut the hell up!" Like and I knew because of the way that the announcer said the goal, it was not us, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And
And
I ran back in and I saw it.
but I'm sure you saw the replay.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
The,
But I didn't see it live.
the mistake there, the
The
mistake there
mistake that was
came.
made. Yeah,
James messed up on
right.
the pass.
Yeah,
But I'm not gonna crucify him for it. You should have heard what some of the again. You see, that's James. Hace las cosas bien. He makes one good pass. I'm like, bro, it was a mistake. The defender didn't commit. Mosquera didn't commit. It wasn't his fault. I don't want to blame anything on Mosquera. It wasn't his fault. It was just a bad pass
yeah.
in the wrong place, and they took advantage of that. And you can't do that with Argentina. And this is one thing that I will criticize Colombia for. We gave them the ball sometimes.
Hmm.
When we scored, instead of okay, let's take it easy. No, they're hurt. Fucking give it to them.
Yeah,
I want to. I don't want to give them a second to fucking breathe.
right. The times we've beaten Argentina, that's usually what it's been. It's we don't let them breathe. We just are on them,
No,
on
you
them. We
because
get
you can't let them breathe. Because
right.
even though we think that, or I think that they do get help sometimes. That they do suffer from favoritism. Uh, if you give them an inch, they'll take advantage of it because they're that
Yeah,
talented. We could
right.
talk all the shit we want about Argentina,
Yeah,
but they're
they're that
talented
good. They're
and they're
that good.
good.
Yeah,
They're good. So
they're good.
no, when we were playing, I'm like, why? Why go back? Why are we stepping back? Let's get the ball. ¿Por qué no echamos para atrás? Porque se nos hacía así. Why are we
Right.
scared? Go at them. And when we did, we would try to like create stuff, but without James, without. And let me tell you something, Lucho Diaz. I want to hear your thoughts about how Lucho Diaz played that game.
I,
Because I
I
have
feel
some
like
thoughts.
Lucho, I feel like Lucho is trying to do too much now. I feel like he's maybe trying to do too much. I feel like he's like it's almost like he's like, oh my god, I haven't scored in a while. I need to make something happen. I mean, I know
He
he scored
just
against
scored the
Peru.
last.
I know he scored
Yeah,
against Peru, but like I felt like in this game, like he was holding. Did you see that play that he was just holding onto the ball and he was just like breaking people and trying to find something? And I'm just like, yo,
they
just give it
took
up, bro. Like
after the seventh man, just make the pass because
just
he
make the
took seven
pass,
on him
bro.
on.
It just reminded me of our boy Andy. You know what I mean? Like it was like it's like why waste the energy, bro? Like like
First of all,
you're
we
fast.
disrespect Lucho Diaz like that again.
I know, I know.
Andy,
I'm
Andy
not
is
comparing
Andy's horrible.
it.
And
I'm
I'm
not
saying it
comparing
here.
the two. I'm not
But and
comparing the
Lucho
two. I'm
Diaz is
just
a
saying
treasure.
no,
Put some
but what I'm
respect on
trying to
my boy's
say,
name.
what I'm trying to say is wasting the energy, right? Because that's kind of essentially what Andy does sometimes, and I criticize him on that. It's like, yo, stop wasting your energy because by halfway through the game, you're huffing and puffing because you've like literally tried to run through people, like and whatever the case may be. And I feel like Lucho does the same thing. And this is Barranquilla. I know that like it's home, but you still get exhausted out there. You still get hot. My friend posted a video of him going to the game and they did a light jog to like get into the stadium and he took a pic. He took like in the video, you see his leg, and he's got a lot of leg hair. So and his hairs were just like literally like was just like
And it had
down.
rained. It had rained like half an hour
Wait, it did
before.
it? Oh, okay. So maybe that
Had,
was it.
no,
Maybe
no, no. It
yeah.
had rained like half an hour before, and then the sun came out, and it was like a goddamn sauna.
I
My
mean,
my
I
brother
can
went to the
imagine.
game and went to Barranquilla.
Yeah.
Marica, estaba haciendo un calor insoportable.
No,
It
I can
was it
imagine.
was it was it was it was horrible.
We live in Miami and we don't have that type of sun. Like that sun is just
It's different. It's a different
it's a
sun.
different type of heat. It's
Yeah,
a, it's
it's a
a
different
it's a
type of
dry it's
heat.
a Vegas heat. It's a Vegas heat. If you
Here,
ever been to
nah,
Vegas, no. In Barranquilla,
no.
it's a Vegas heat.
After it rains, it's like you're in a like olla
Uh,
express, like in a pressure
Yeah, it's
cooker, bro.
Vegas. That-
It's
or
just
Arizona, like where the fucking pavement is literally melting while you're driving on it. That's exactly how hot it gets. So I
yeah.
mean,
You're in the
just
middle
think of
of the
it that
devil's
way.
asshole. Yeah, no, definitely.
We'll talk more about Colombia. I want to get more thoughts about the Colombia game, but let's try to reach out to the rest of these qualifying games. Ecuador, Peru. Again, I kind of mentioned it earlier. Not much to see here. Ecuador like dominated the whole game, and they got the 1-0. I don't think you watched it. You were more into the
No,
Colombia game, and then we went to
yeah,
play soccer.
yeah.
Um, so, but yeah, Peru disappointed in the performance. A 3-5-2. I don't understand it with the type of team that we have. Just doesn't make sense. Bolivia. Bolivia does it again, 2-1 against Chile, right?
As a
Um,
visitor,
as
as
a
a
visitor.
visitor.
As a visitor.
Damn.
This is the things that Bolivia didn't
Damn.
do in previous fucking tournaments, in previous qualifiers, is beat teams away, right?
No,
They might
no.
steal points at home, but away there literally were 0-0-0,
Well,
1-0.
the theory's always been that if you win all your games at home,
You're in.
you're in the World Cup.
Yeah.
However, with when you're not Argentina or Brazil, you have to win some games or at least tie some games as a visitor. And Bolivia has not been able to do that.
Yeah.
They
They're
haven't
just
been able to
weak.
win a game in like 1990. I said it. I mentioned it late a little while ago. The last 7-1 was in 1993. So
As an
that
away
was
team.
surprising to me. To me, that they started winning because Bolivia was 1-0. Then Chile tied, and then Bolivia went up again. And I think it's really cool to see that Bolivia is not out of it, and no team right now. Like who's their last team right now? Who's in last?
Peru.
Peru
Peru's in last with 3.
with
Yeah.
with 3 points.
Yeah, with 3 points.
No,
They're 2 games away. Yeah, they have 3 points. They have 3 ties.
3 points.
Yeah, 3 ties.
Let me look up the
Yeah, so
qualifying.
Peru is 3, Chile's with 5. I believe I can put it here if I'm not mistaken.
If
Standings,
you
yeah.
can, thank you. So
Yeah.
we can look. They're just 2 games away. They're just 2 games away from Paraguay. They win 2 games and they're in Paraguay. They're right there. No one's out of this fight right now.
Yeah. Essentially, Peru and Chile are still alive, even with
Now, this
the
is a
points
question I want to
differential.
ask you.
Yeah.
It's more competitive. Yeah, you're gonna see every team compete till the very end because nothing's set, especially if you're out of the group. Is that good or bad? Is that gonna raise the level of the World Cup or bring it down? And I
I know
and I
what
believe we
answer you
talked
want
about
to
this
give me.
before.
I know what answer you want me to give, but I'm always going to say that this is going
I
to
want your
raise.
answer. That's the one I
I
want.
want yes. The answer is it's
Yo te
going
quiero
to
a ti,
raise the
papi. Okay.
competition. It's going to raise the competition, man. These teams want to get in one way or the other because there's funds involved in this, right? To get into the World Cup, you get paid to get into this, and it helps the federation. Even if you spend the money stupidly and don't spend it on growing your soccer base, it that's the point, right? The point is to get in, get money coming your way. I think it
The,
because it's yeah. Go
Alex,
ahead.
does the level go up or the competition go up?
The
Because
competition
it's
goes
two
up. I
different.
don't know about the level.
The competition. I've always had this discussion with when we talk about La Liga and the English Premier League. The English
Hmm.
Premier League is the most competitive league in the world. It's not the best,
According to you.
according to me, but it's not the best because according to the titles, Spain has dominated for the past I don't know how many years.
Yeah, I get it. I get your point, and I
You get
totally get
me?
your point 100% where
But
you're
like
coming
that's what
from
I'm
with
saying.
that.
The competition is going to be up there. We're seeing competition now. What we just mentioned, Bolivia. Bolivia está ganando. Hace mucho tiempo que no gana Bolivia.
Yeah.
But if you see the games that Bolivia has played, we saw it in the Copa America. We saw it from Peru that they're just the level isn't really that high, dude.
It isn't there. It
No.
isn't there.
And I'm not just bullying, but I saw Ecuador. Right now, the only teams that are actually showing good soccer
The
are
top 3.
Argentina, Colombia, Uruguay. Y
That's
pare.
it. Yeah, that's it. But let me point this out to you too. I mean, we're talking about Bolivia being a competitive team and getting into the fight, but you look at their goal difference. Right? This is a team that has 3 wins, 5 losses, no draws, and they have a -5 default there. And the only reason it's -5 is because they won 4-0 against Venezuela. Because if it wasn't for that 4-0 win, we're talking about a -9 goal difference, right? So this is a team that is, to me, they might get in, but when they face a Germany like they did in '94, or they face a Netherlands, a Belgium, even Belgium, I'll even go out there and say that they're going to get rocked. Even the African teams, I think, are more favored than Bolivia. In fact, I'm gonna go so far to say that if Bolivia was to be number 7 right now and go into a repechaje with
Well, usually it's
any,
against Australia
well, no, well, Australia's
or
is
New
because
Zealand.
it's yeah, New Zealand. They'll be. I think they'll beat
Oceania.
New Zealand. They'll beat Oceania, but it's remember Australia's in the Asian Confederation now. So
Oh,
if they
okay, yeah.
face an Australia or they get a potential Qatar They faint, they face a potential Korea, Japan, which I don't see that happening. But or they go face somebody in North America like a Costa Rica. I think Bolivia's out. I think Bolivia's out. Right, so they have to face New Zealand in order to survive and get in my opinion. I don't think that. So to answer your question,
Refresh my memory. Is the repechaje played or the intercontinental playoffs? Is it played home and away?
last time they didn't do that. For the
They didn't do
Qatar one,
that.
they
It used to
decided to
be
make it a one matchup. Yeah, it
just
used to be.
one match game.
And I think that this time they're actually doing it different. They're actually going to bring all the teams that are in the repechaje and do it like a group stage type of thing, where they like play each other like at least once. So I could be wrong, but I think that's the last thing I heard about that
Well,
repechaje
mind
for
you,
this World
mind
Cup.
you, Bolivia has 15 goals against,
Mhm.
but they have 10 goals in favor.
Because of the last four they just had against Venezuela.
But there's still goals, right?
I mean, yes, I'm not taking that away from them. I'm just saying that that's one game. That's a fallout from Venezuela, but I don't
They
see
have
that
10 goals.
happening constantly.
Now take away the four from Venezuela. That
Yeah,
would make that they would have 6. They still have more goals than Peru, who's
Peru.
last,
Hmm.
than Chile, who's
Yes.
ninth. They have more goals than Paraguay, who's 7th. Paraguay only has 2.
Mm.
They would be tied with Venezuela, who has 6 goals in favor. Not a good. This is just goals in favor.
Yeah.
So out of Bolivia scored without the 4 that they just scored, is has more goals than 5 other teams. So they do have some offensive output.
But their defense has been atrocious. The defense has been atrocious. Nobody has been scored on more than Bolivia. Nobody.
That's the flip side. But that's one. The only thing that the only teams that get close to are Chile and Peru. Peru with 10, Chile has 12 against. So what I'm saying is the level has gone down. The competition is there. But I bring like these numbers up because tanto Chile, Peru, Bolivia, and I'm even gonna throw Paraguay in there. Those are 4 teams that today don't have the level to compete for something in the World Cup. But 2 of them, maybe 3, are gonna go. And that's what I'm getting at. A team that can't compete in its own division has a shot at going to the World Cup. Venezuela, I see the way Venezuela's been playing. Yes, they did lose against Bolivia
Bolivia.
in La Paz, which is a hard ass stage to play in. But bro, Venezuela's been playing well. They deserve
They
to at
have.
least they deserve as of right now to have at least a repechaje spot. What the soccer that we're seeing today from Peru, Chile, y Bolivia, and Paraguay, I don't see them playing, dude. I don't see it.
Gotcha.
Paraguay played against Uruguay on Friday with what we talked about in the beginning, without
Mhm.
starters, without a lot of the starters because they were sanctioned from the Copa America, and they still couldn't they couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. To me, it's
We'll
not
see.
not great. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Um, all right. Any other games that went through? Venezuela again ties with Uruguay, which is something that I've told you that it was just I wasn't really happy with Uruguay's performances these last 2 games. Points lost everywhere, and I know Venezuela just came off a 4-0 loss, but I feel like that's
They
a great
were playing.
opportunity for Uruguay
One
to
thing that
come
you
up.
always have to bring up, they were playing away
Yeah, I
against
agree.
Venezuela. So a tie. I've always said if
You
you
can steal a
don't
tie,
win,
a
steal a
point.
tie when you're away.
Yeah.
So
But the big one that somebody who couldn't steal the tie and couldn't get the point was Brazil, who gets shocked by Paraguay 1-0. I mean, what is going on in Brazil, man? I mean, is it the president? Are we gonna blame the Trump over there or the version of Trump over there?
it's
What are
culpa de
we
Maduro, bro.
blaming?
It's culpa de Maduro. Venezuela didn't win because Maduro's in power.
Yo,
All right,
prayers to Venezuela, bro.
all I keep those Instagrams post up, bros.
Always, it's 9/11.
You
Remember that.
remember,
Remember, always
R.I.P.
remember. Yeah, prayers. Um, Brazil,
But
man,
like,
Brazil's level. My God.
why do you think is this one of the worst Brazils that you've ever seen?
Yes, I remember that question being asked to me in 2014. Right, I remember in 2014 they said, I remember somebody was like, "This ain't the Brazil that when we had Romario and fucking Ronaldo and Bebeto and Ronaldinho playing in, or even Kaká." Like I remember hearing that sentiment from Brazilian fans, and I used to just say to you, "Yeah, I would," but I would tell them, like, "Yeah, but you're still Brazil, right? You're still Brazil. When you face Brazil, you still respect, and your B team is better than a lot of people's A team." Right now their A team is not as good as a lot of people's A teams, right? Like this is the first time I've ever seen that. This is to me the worst Brazil, and they have individual talent, right? They have the individual talent. So I'm starting to wonder if it's the coach. I'm starting to wonder if it's just the players' attitudes. Did Neymar really just change all of Brazil's like soccer, like himself? Like I don't know. We talked before about the effect of certain basketball players and how they affect other future basketball players and stuff like that. Did Neymar like create this like new style of play that Brazil is just suffering? I really don't know what to put the blame on. Maybe you have a little bit more of a light to that.
Look, if we look at the talent that they have and they possess right now, they have three players that are in Real Madrid, and one of them isn't it just got there. The other two are cornerstones.
Before you continue, I just want to point out they're playing in Real Madrid, the league that you so called say it is the number one league in the world. Just wanted to put that out there. Go ahead, continue.
But how are they playing over there? They got the raw talent.
They do.
They
They
have
do.
it. They're there. You can't tell me that Vinny right now or the past year hasn't been playing amazing.
Yeah,
And
top
Rodrigo
notch.
too.
Yeah.
Rodrigo too. Henrik, he's a little young. I wouldn't be starting. Well, I would start him now, dude. If you have to play him, play him. If you have to
Yeah.
play, what happened back there, huh? Que metió
USA
gol.
scored, but I thought the freaking Colombia game was on. How does Win Sport not have freaking Colombia playing? Or is it Caracol that they're playing?
You're looking at
It's
Wing.
terrible.
You're looking
Win
at
Sport.
Wing.
Fucking
Let me tell you
Win
something.
Sports playing.
The president of Wing is this lady that's Catalina. I don't remember her name right now, but she
Yeah.
went on air saying that that no, it's not the picture. It's not the fault of like our our camera quality isn't bad. It's just the way you set up. So she made an actual post on how to set up your
Your
TV
TV.
like lights so you can actually watch the game. And you have to put it like on
Some
clarity like 100.
the nerve of some people. The nerve of some people. But could get to your point about Brazil.
All right, so they had what I my point
Top
is
three.
Brazil has the talent. It's there.
Yeah.
We can't question it. It's there. What I do think that it's one of the main issues. Where's the 10?
I mean,
Where's the
Neymar's
10?
not there. Not like Neymar was a real 10, but Neymar's not there.
But one of
Like
the reasons that Neymar did a lot of stuff, and
mhm.
Neymar had, I don't think Vinny still has the potential to like surpass Neymar because I think he's young and I think he's showing it in the club level. He has to show it in the national level now. But one of the main reasons that Neymar never, because there wasn't an Neymar wasn't a 10, puntero izquierdo, like a winger kind of forward on the left. But where's the 10?
Yeah.
There's no
That
10.
that's what that's always been the thing that kills me, right? Is there just hasn't been a 10. Ronaldo had a 10. Like I just feel like this Brazil team, had
Here's the
Bebeto, had
thing. Ronaldo when he went to Inter, he didn't have a 10. So what did he do? All right, I'll be the 10.
mm,
Yo me bajo, voy busco
yeah.
el balón, and I'm gonna win games. And I think that that's one of the things that bothers me with this. First of all, there's no 10, and they haven't even tried to like. I haven't seen one in come out of Brazil since they try to put Neymar as a 10. Neymar successful on the wing. It didn't really work out. And number two, who's the manager?
I don't even know his name. I'll get the name for
The
you.
only reason I know is because he used to be James' manager, which was the guy from Sao Paulo. His name is I
Mm.
have it right here, Junior. Yo no sé qué. Diroval Junior. We don't know about him. Is this coach prepared for managing someone like Vinny? I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't know how prepared. I don't think he imposes the law. In the Copa America, when they were having a group meeting for the extra time against Uruguay, they wouldn't let
Mhm.
him in. The players were giving the talk, not the coach. He was asking
Wow.
for permission from the back, like, "Hey, yo, I'm sorry, can I just like a little
Yeah.
boy?" I'm like, so I think those two things, Brazil's coaching has gone down. We don't see them like los Escolaris, los Pereiras, like those coaches that like, all right, you might be Ronaldinho, you might, but we need to win, and
How
you guys,
unfortunate how unfortunate is it that someone like a Scolari won't ever get another shot at Brazil because of the 7-1 Germany, matchup, right? Like that
but
was a matchup that
I don't think it
just
was
sucks.
bad. I just think that it's you have to own up to it, and you had a great. I've always been very against you reusing coaching. Once your coach is done, he finishes his cycle, el ciclo de él.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you very much. For example, Peckerman. When they're like, "Yo, should we bring Peckerman back again?" I'm like, "No,
Yeah, no, I
great
didn't think so
coach,
too.
but
Hmm.
ya hizo lo que tenía que hacer." Because maybe they're not as they don't keep up with the training methods, tactical, um,
Tactics, just
la,
tactics in
la
general, yeah.
táctica de hoy en día del juego. Maybe they're not caught up with that. So I've always been very against it. And I think that's why Scolari had that 7-1 because he did it. He did what he had to do when he had to do it. Now they're just throwing him, yo, you did it once for us, do it again. Maybe he wasn't up to date on everything that he had to do. I don't know what happened there in that 7-1,
Yeah, yeah.
but that's why I don't think that bringing a new coach, and that's one of the reasons why I say it's important. It's very important. One of the reasons that Argentina is successful now is because of the coaching.
Yeah.
Look at everything that uh, the Argentinian coach Bielsa. Look at his whole school. Peckerman,
Hmm.
creo que Scaloni, and look at all the right now. Argentinian coaches are coveted throughout the world.
Yeah.
Brazil used to be like that. We don't see that no more. They have the
No more.
talent. They have the talent. So I think those two things, they're not up to date,
Yeah.
and they haven't been able to mix in their personality, their style of play. If you're gonna have a coach from the National League that's Brazilian, because you don't have any other coaches, how many players are playing? Have you called up from the Brazil team? Hey, gáneselos con esos. You know them, right?
Hmm.
Llámese a cinco de los mejores jugadores. Call up some of the
Yeah.
players that you know from the
Right.
National League. Bring them up.
I mean,
All right,
they're
we're not gonna
talented
play.
enough.
We're not gonna play European style. We're gonna play Brazil style.
Yeah.
We're gonna play
But is
our
that
style.
but is that what's and that's what I was going to say. Is that what's missing, right? Because essentially what I feel like, if you remember our history, right? From Pelé till 94, Brazil was like, competitive, but they never got back to winning a World Cup. You know, was that what's missing, like that hunger of like, yo, we need to get another one in our belts, because it seems like, it got to a point where it was like, yo, we're getting to finals, we're even though we might not win it every time, we're getting right there, you know what I mean, and we'll pull it off, and maybe they're not pulling it off, but there's no sense of I don't feel like there's no sense of urgency with this Brazil squad, a team that didn't is not posing fear in Colombia anymore. I feel like Colombia is playing them without the fear that we used to play with them. Paraguay just beat them 1-0. Like these are like the types of results that I'm seeing, and I'm just kind of like, is this team like as scary as before?
You want to know why I put so much emphasis and I like on the World Cup? Because when we have discussions about who's the greatest or who's your favorite player,
Mm,
I was like, oh, he won a World Cup. Winning a World Cup isn't easy.
it's not. Only 8 teams have won it.
It isn't easy. It's a tournament that's played by a lot, but it's only won by a few.
Yeah.
So like when Brazil went from 1970 to 1994 without winning a World Cup, yes, but they were always players. We had Socrates, Zico. They had all these players throughout their history, and they were
Hmm.
competitive. Winning a World Cup isn't easy. And in Brazil's history, it's happened only two times when they've won it consecutively, and those two times is because they had phenomenal players.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about what Spain did in 2010.
Yeah.
They had great players. These players were out of this. Like it,
Was that their golden age? Because we talk about Pelé and like winning the World Cup with Brazil. Was that 94 to 2002 the golden age of Brazil, the real golden age of Brazil, or was that the second coming?
I think it was the second cup. The golden age for any team is whenever the fuck you're winning, and you can have multiple stints at that. So I'm not a big fan of the golden age. I'm a fan
Yeah,
of I'm fan of understanding the context
yeah,
of that time and respecting that time.
right, right.
What my biggest issue, I don't think it's fair to say there's only one player that's been the greatest of all time. But if I
Right,
had to
right.
pick one, I'm going with the guy that won the most World Cups,
Which is Pelé.
which is Pelé. And then after that, we'll have a conversation. But it's not
Mhm.
fair to do that because there's a lot of players that were so good that they could only because winning a World Cup is hard. But
Yeah,
Brazil did that twice with in 1994, 1998 they almost won it, and in 2002 that's when Ronaldo, Kaká, Ronaldinho, Bebeto, Romario, all these players, you were like, damn.
Roberto Carlos, fucking.
Roberto
I
Carlos,
mean,
Cafu, Milson,
Dunga.
un
I mean, there was
equipazo de cosas.
Tafarel.
Tafarel, Dida, bro,
Bro,
they,
it
they,
was
they,
just.
they were fucking
I mean,
amazing.
that's how good the team is, right? That you can name like almost the starting 11 and bench players, because like that's how memorable they are, because that's how good they were, right? I don't think we could even do that with our
But
2014 team.
but no, no. But even though they had all those great players, they had Scolari,
Yeah,
they had Pereira, coaches of level that Scolari went to Chelsea, he was in Europe. Pereira creo que también un tiempo, o sea, los manes estaban
nivel alto.
en nivel alto. We're missing coaching, and and one of the things that I always come back to, you gotta play your style. We have to stop trying. We have to learn from Europe. We don't have to copy them.
Yeah,
Stop copying them.
right. They
And
don't apologize about their style. We do.
exactly. Or is that the? I understand that today's game you can't have any lazy players. El flair, el Latin flair, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, que el vago, el que sale a tomar, the guy that's partying, players like that, you have to be
Mhm.
Ronaldo, but you can't do that anymore. That's not the norm. But what you can do is have the style of play where a guy can take two or three at a time. Let him loose. Play with a 10. Play with an old 10. Make him run. Make him physical. Why
Right.
would we have to apologize for our style of play? No, dude. And learn from Europe, but don't try to copy them. And I think that's one of the reasons why Europe is so successful these past 20 years. All these times that because they don't copy, they're like, you know what? We don't create that many tens. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna find a way to play without that many tens.
We're gonna
And
play our
that's why
style,
we're gonna play our style. We don't develop that many tens. How many tens can you
which
name
is
in Brazil?
which is
In Europe?
something which is something that Brazil did with Pelé in their day. They said we're gonna play, our style is soccer, and we're gonna go out there and play this type of football that that Europe is not wanting to play. We'll play it, and they were successful with it. So I don't understand where it's changed, and maybe it's because we're sending too many players to Europe that they're like, oh, this is what we need
That
to
might be honestly
incorporate.
that might be because a player
Yeah.
that leaves his country when he's 15 and he
Hmm.
spends most of his formative years in soccer
Yeah.
somewhere else. I mean, Messi's Argentinian, but he's more Spaniard than Argentinian.
Then Argentina. Yeah.
I mean, we're Colombians, but most of our lives we've lived them here, and our culture like that. I think that has an impact when you live when you take a player so young out of like where he's from, especially when he hasn't. Look, it's Hendrick. I think he's a good player, but he's either gonna knock it out of the park or they're gonna burn through him.
Yeah.
And I think he's good. I don't know, and hopefully I'm wrong. I don't think he's that.
That thing.
I don't because that's it. Those fucking were already all gone. Ronaldo was just tearing it up in Europe at that. But here's one other thing: players back in the day had more character. They're like, you know what? This is the way I play, and if you don't like me, sell me.
Send me somewhere else. Send me somewhere else. I mean, I sent you the pibe thing, right? Where he was just like,
Yeah.
how y'all
See,
doing? Like, everybody had that attitude. Everybody had that attitude.
porque
If you
these are
weren't,
my attributes,
yeah,
and it's not being disrespectful. But and I'm glad you brought that up, Alex. Hey, yo no juego así. Riquelme with the fucking Bangal asshole. He was like
who was
Riquelme
it?
was like, I'm not a winger, bro. Why are you trying to make me play as a winger? I'm
Yeah,
not playing that. You don't like the way I play? Fine. Send me somewhere else where I'm
send me
actually
some.
gonna play. Where I'm actually gonna play. And then they send him to Villarreal, and what happened? He balled the fuck out.
Yeah, Wesley Schneider, right? He got Real Madrid was like, yeah, we're good. I think we're done with you. He went to Inter and won a trophy with them and shoved it right back in
Slava.
their face. Yeah,
Slava.
well, it's one of those things where these players have to have this type of attitude, and it seems like slowly, little by little, the players are losing that. Um,
And the thing is that they're losing that, and we're thinking that like um we're thinking that playing dirty is the new mostrar character. Wasting time, hablándole al árbitro, going and talking shit. That's not
Diving,
that. Yeah, no. That's not
yeah,
character. Character is this is how I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play. If you want to use me, fine. If you don't, that's great. I'm not gonna fight with you. Send me somewhere else where I can play.
yeah. You know what? You
Send me
know what?
somewhere else.
My final comment on all this is you just mentioned about like they think that this is the new way to play. I've always looked at it as if you go and do a pickup game the way we do, right? If you're a professional, football player, and you are just walking down the street and you see like a pickup game, if they're not doing that there, you probably shouldn't be doing it on the big field either, right? So if you're not playing, so we don't usually play dirty. We don't try to follow each other or hurt each other. We don't dive. We don't like roll around left and right. You know what I'm saying? Every time someone like we it's funny because when we play soccer, even though we're not professionals, if you come in and you
No,
try to take the ball away,
that is
far
completely
from it,
true.
right? Far from it. But if we're playing and you come in and you try to take the ball and you accidentally kick me, you know, most of the time we keep going. We don't even stop because we're just like, you know what I mean? But in football, in professional football, you do the same kick and I threw myself and I'm, with my hand up in the air, like, my God, he just ripped my fucking shin off. Like, oh my goodness, like, ref, they call something, yellow card. And then people are pushing each other. So I get that that's part of the game, for the most part, but
No,
it's
no, that's not part of the game.
a
That's
part of it is a part
no,
of the,
no. That's what
having
we've
the,
accepted as
we've
part
accepted
of the
it. We've
game. We've
accepted it.
accepted it, but it's not part of the game. Wasting time, and we're gonna get into this real soon. That's not part of the game. We've accepted it as if it is. It's not.
Yeah.
Jueguen.
Yeah.
Like you said, we play, but we don't play as hard as they do. But we also don't prepare as hard as they do. They're prepared the entire week for that one game.
Mm.
And I think I did this spread with my brother one time. We paused the clock the clock, like we started the game. The game started. We started the timer, and we paused it every time
Someone wasted time.
someone was wasting time. In a professional Colombian league, 22 minutes were wasted.
Wasted.
22 minutes.
And what was the extra time? Do you remember what the extra time was? Like maybe 3-4 minutes, maybe.
I honestly don't remember. But I was like, and that's incredible. If we do it in an Argentina and when they do that, you lose like 10 goddamn minutes. And that's why I loved it when they did it in the World Cup, where like, oh, you wasted 15 minutes, we're putting those 15 minutes back on. I
Mm-hmm.
love it. Let's play the 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Let's
you know
give
what
it to
started
us.
happening? We started playing soccer.
Yeah.
They would stop wasting time. Oh, you're gonna waste time? Waste it.
Yeah.
You're gonna get it back. You think you're
Yeah.
gonna burn 5 minutes and I'm only gonna give a minute?
Agreed. Because if there's one thing that FIFA does understand is that people do want to see soccer. They don't want to see the theatrics of
And I
the
wish that
diving
be
and stuff.
implemented everywhere, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Because it's marica jueguen fútbol.
See.
Like you paid your stuff. Like los jugadores cuando salen, like after the game when they do their press meets and all, they're like, no, I think that wasn't good for el espectáculo, for the spectator. But hey, you're the one throwing your. Why are you making time? Give me my 45 minutes of goddamn play. Cause
Agreed.
I want to see that. That's why you make your money. I'm not paying this ticket to go to see you. Hey, talk to the ref. I don't want to see you roll around and make time.
Yeah.
Quiero ver es que me coja el baloncito and sáquese a
Let's get
alguien.
this game. Let's get this game going. Right. That's the beauty of it all.
And
Um. Yeah.
and one thing that I want to transition to because and I actually do because I know you posted something on your Instagram about El Divo Martinez and bad sportsmanship because I was trying to get at that. What are your thoughts of this whole Argentina reaction because they lost?
It's funny to me because they just they make it
Mal
seem like,
parido, bro. I swear to
yeah,
God.
we've talked so much about how when they don't get things their way, they complain and they cry like babies, and I feel like this was the this was the game. I didn't expect it to be the game, but when we got the win and we saw the reaction of the people on Instagram and all the Argentinians on Twitter and or X, whatever you want to call it, I remember just seeing like everybody just started posting the memes of like, well, we got the World Cup, we got the two Copa Americas, Jordan,
You
this
didn't
and
see
that.
you didn't see what the wannabe Beckham said.
The wannabe
Like
Beckham. Now, what do you say?
he was like, "Nah, since we're the best team in the world, everybody wants to beat us, but we they couldn't win, and they're kind of hurt because they couldn't win the game that actually the Copa America final, which is true. We didn't win it. We
Yeah,
didn't.
we didn't win.
It's okay.
There's nothing to
And
take
one of the
away from that.
and one of the greatest things that James said after the game was, "This is a great game against a great team, but it's just 3 points. We have to keep working so we can start getting to finals of Copa America because it's
Mhm.
important, like something important in the World Cup." So they're very centered. Who I didn't see centered, they they lost that game and they reacted like they lost the final,
Yeah. Agreed, right? We lost the
like they
final
lost the final.
and we lost the final. We were kind of just like, damn, we had them. I mean, at
We
least
were
maybe the players
disappointed.
felt this way. We were disappointed that we had opportunities, we just didn't capitalize, whatever. But we didn't act this way, right? They lost 3 points, and this is the reaction you get. You get Debo smacking the camera from a guy who's just doing his job, right?
They
Um,
were they were caught. Here's the funny thing, Scaloni. Scaloni, yeah, Scaloni was the one who said this. He was already bitching about how hot it was.
yeah. Why do we got to play at three
Motherfucker,
thirty
why
in the
weren't you
afternoon?
bitching about that in the Copa America?
Yeah.
Oh,
Why
it's only
weren't you
when it's
bitching about
benefited because
exactly
we had to play in Phoenix. You guys, Argentina never had to play in Phoenix at
right?
fucking 100 and something degree weather, which
You
is
had a
kind of
ref
like
pass out.
this.
You had a ref pass out. I mean, fuck you about the hot weather, right? You talk about, oh, why do we got to play at 3:30? Fuck you. Why do you got to get an extra day of rest? You know what I mean? You had a whole extra day of rest and you
My
still
point
lost.
is, don't bitch about that because
Yeah, don't
we
bitch about it.
don't bitch about that. Hey, son las condiciones de juego. You've beat us in Barranquilla with this exact same weather. Play,
Yeah, yeah.
play.
But they knew they were playing a better team than they played in the past. They knew they were playing a team that was not happy with the way the game went.
And they
Maybe because
knew
the ref.
that after the Copa America, they also knew that the help is gonna start slowing down because
Yeah,
Messi's not there no more. El Niño Mercadeo, he's not there no more.
yeah.
The reason
Agreed.
why they get those kind of lousy ass calls, well, he's not there anymore, and they're not gonna make those calls for Dibu because no one likes him,
Yeah.
and even though he is a good goalie, but bro, like, don't bitch about the fact that you lost. You
Yeah.
lost, and
I'm going to continue my trend to say that you're only as good as a goalie. You're good as a goalie as good as your defense is. Because I swear to God, when he plays in the Premier League, man, he gets fucking scored on a
no,
lot.
no. I said he's
You
a
know,
good goalie.
yeah,
Stop. He's not a great goalie. He's not el mejor de todos los tiempos. He won the World Cup and he was important for that World Cup.
yeah,
And
for
he is
sure.
one of the historical goalkeepers for Argentina. But
Because of that, stop. Yeah.
en el mundo del fútbol,
Um.
he's an okay goalie.
Right. So I mean, Jordan, man, don't cry for me, Argentina. But let's also transition really quickly because we are in overtime. But let's transition really quickly to
Go
the
for it.
fact that we won, and there's a lot of sentiment out there, a lot of Colombians that are not necessarily celebrating. You said James was like, hey, this is just 3 points. We got to
Yeah.
continue to move forward, which is an attitude I love, right? Because, in 2014, all right, cool. We got far in the World Cup and we gave them their parade because we hadn't been in the World Cup since, 1998. I understand that, right? But then,
There's a reason to be happy for that time, but now we need
yes,
to progress.
now we need to progress. So now I feel like this is a game that we won, and I was extremely happy about it. But we go into a little bit of controversy in my group chat. We started talking about like, oh, we can't get caught up on this one win. Like we can't win these games and lose in the finals and expect us to be happy. And I was just kind of like, stop. I was like, nobody's saying we won a World Cup. Nobody's saying that, what I'm saying, like all of a sudden we have varsity jackets with Colombia on it. No, what I'm saying is that this is an amazing result because we've only beaten them 3 times before that in Barranquilla, or in Colombia, period. Everything else has been a draw or a loss. So we have to take that in. We have to take the fact that 3 points is big. We have to take into the fact that if we get second place or even first, we're the cabeza of a group. You know what I mean? Like, which avoids a, a
Traveling,
potential clash.
there's benefits. There's
Traveling,
benefits
there's
to that. Yeah.
huge benefits to it. So I was a little upset because I was like, "Yo, we're Colombia, man. We're supposed to be supporting each other." I get that it's not a Copa America final. I get that we're still hurting from that, but it's a little bit of a climb towards what we're looking for, right? It's not to say that like that's it. We don't have to work hard anymore. No, there's still obviously like certain metas that we have to reach. But my God, what a good start!
I mean, I 100% agree with you. And this is the only thing that I'm going to say about that. And I'm not going to say anything else about this particular thing because in Colombia, we are either black or white. Like, there's no in the middle. We can't either something is the best thing in the world or it's absolute. And we did it with James. When James was in 2014, greatest player, this. When we started struggling, James is shit. He should be tired. He's a
Yes,
little niño.
yes,
I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. It's not all on James.
yeah.
It's not.
I'll admit, I was like that too, Juli, because there was times that I was like, "Yo, why are you being a drama queen, bro? Like, just you're so talented. Go out there and I was the one that I was the original one. While people were buying Falcao jerseys, I was buying James and saying, "Yo, this is the key to the World Cup." You know what I mean? So like,
And that's
I
why
was,
I talk about manage expectations.
yeah,
James was showing us like, oh my god, maybe puede llegar a ser importante en el Real Madrid, and he was up to a certain point. But things happen; they're human too. And
mhm,
James has showed us that he always plays well. We're not from Real Madrid. We're not Spaniards, dog. We're not from Bayern Munich. We always want him to do well. But in Colombia, that motherfucker's always played. Always. He's always
yeah.
balled out. He always gives
Well,
110%.
what about the last World Cup where I mean we went
How many
17
games did he
games
play?
without scoring? I don't remember. I
But
can't tell you
he
that.
didn't
You
play.
might be
He didn't
okay.
play. We were talking shit about James so much that Ronaldo Rueda said, like, you know what? I don't need him. I got Lucho Diaz. And what happened? Lucho Diaz couldn't deliver. Not because he was bad. It just there was no work in that. And I 100% blame Reinaldo Rueda.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Lucho Diaz has the players have a big thing on that too. But he called them when he was already almost out.
Yeah,
Why call him then? Why didn't you call him like, oh no, es
he was
que
playing.
el tóxico es James. No, so that's why I want to bring that up. It's worth the celebration 100%. We beat a great team. We beat Argentina. I don't want to minimize how good they are because they have a great team. And it's worth celebrating. Now, this is not the 5-0. We've learned from that.
Yeah.
El 5-0 pasó, and we can't get stuck there. Celebrate it, remember it. Hey, ganamos, como jugamos, learn from that.
Next month we got games. Let's
And
get
then
ready.
let's keep going. Let's keep going to the finals. But it's not the World Cup final that we won. But hey, no me amargar el ratico solamente porque we lost. Like I was heartbroken after the final, Alex.
Right.
You
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
me.
You
I
were
was
there. You were
heartbroken after the
there.
final.
Right.
I was
Right.
heartbroken after the final. But you know what? I'm happy. I celebrated. And
And
yes, it
rightfully
hurt
so.
not winning. It hurt not winning that final. Pero estamos haciendo las cosas bien. And the more finals we'll play, de pronto ganamos algo.
Yeah.
But we have to play them. And we have to play them by make. And this is one thing that I do like about Lorenzo. Nos tiene jugando bien.
Yeah.
But the only
Yeah.
reason, the only way we get there is playing well. And I think Colombia played well. There are things that need to get better. This is just 3 points, and we're 1 foot in the World Cup. With
Yeah.
the amount of
Absolutely.
so enjoy it, but no me amargue el rato. No todo es malo. No todo es bueno.
La,
Learn how to enjoy those little because we don't see Colombia that often to play. We see them like what 3 to 4 times a year. So I'm gonna be happy
yeah.
when we win.
Right. And one of the points that I said earlier today was there's only been 8 World Cup teams that have won World Cup championships, right? Like, and some of them multiple times, but uh, 8 countries have won the World Cup,
How many
and
times
so we
has
can't.
how many times has Holanda played a final and not been able to win?
Holanda,
And they've had
Holanda's a
great
great,
players,
great, and then
great
great
players.
teams, and their golden age has come and gone and come back and gone. So in Spain and vice versa, right? Let's say Netherlands beat Spain, we would have been saying the same thing about Spain. How many times has Spain had good teams
The
and not
only
win
reason
the
you
World Cup?
get there, the only reason you get there is when you learn how to win.
Yeah,
And beating great teams like Argentina, we have to make that a custom. We
yeah,
have to have that mentality. Now, is it always going to work out? No. And hopefully we're a little bit more gracious than Argentina was when they lost this. But we need to know how to enjoy the few moments of soccer, because we're not, as of right now, we're not Brazil, we're not Argentina. We don't get these moments very often. We don't get those
yeah,
finals very often. We only had two in 80 years. Disfruten. No
yeah.
se hagan garra, pero disfruten. Déjenme celebrar a mí que
Right.
ganó mi selección contra una selección que acaba de ganar la Copa América.
Y el mundial, y el mundial.
Exacto.
So
Entonces,
Argentina's Argentina for a reason, and we won, and that's something that we should celebrate.
bro,
And,
this is
and
a
I
lively
agree.
ass conversation. I'm sweating. I'm sweating from this conversation, dude. They're
Yeah.
gonna have to
Well, that's
peel me
probably
off this
because we're
thing.
in overtime. That's probably because we're here in overtime and stuff like that. So that's
The
all good in some
strong
ways.
remain.
The
There
strong
should be a,
remain.
a little box in this. The strong are here. All right. And
Shout
we
out
don't
to
go to the
Jose.
gym. You clearly see that we don't go to the gym. The fucker that goes to the gym, he's not here today.
Damn, that's true. I
All
didn't even
right.
think of that, bro.
You get me?
You know,
He goes to the gym. Ay, yo, I'm so, and he flexes and yo soy el flaco. And
you
you
ever
can
notice
definitely let him
he
know next.
flexes when he? You ever notice he flexes when he does directions? You be like, yo, how do you know how do I get
Is
to
it
the?
that
Oh, he's
way,
just that way
that
over
way,
there.
or
Yeah.
that way?
Oh man, well, it was
No, I,
great
I,
chatting
miss,
to you,
I miss el
man.
flaquito. I miss el flaquito.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be here next week. It's been fun. I'm glad that we're finally gonna be up live. We're finally gonna be up on YouTube. We're gonna try to get on Spotify or
You're gonna
Apple
get sick from
Podcasts, all
hearing
that.
from us. We're
Yeah,
gonna
so
be
it's gonna be
everywhere.
fun. It's gonna be, how do you feel about getting special guests? How do you feel about getting some people on here? To just converse with us
But
and
who are those special people?
no, I mean it ain't
No
mad
married
about
men.
soccer. It ain't mad about soccer. It's more of like
Because if you got a Esperanza Gomez in here, I'm sorry,
Oh no,
I'd have
I
to
mean
check out. I'm not
I
gonna be
don't
here that day.
I don't know if I can get
I
her to come
respect
on
my
to.
wife.
Yeah, and I would never want you to disrespect your
But
wife.
what
But
kind of? Let's get some people on here. Yeah,
let's fight. Let's talk to some people that are
let's
soccer
get
heads.
someone. Let's get someone's opinion just like ours that no one cares about, and let's put it out in the
And
world.
let's put it on there. Yeah, yeah. And who knows? Maybe they have some people. Maybe they have people that listen to them already, and they could get us
Maybe.
the good word. Well, I'm gonna go. We're gonna go. I'm gonna go watch the rest of this Colombia game. It's still 0-0, almost
Nah,
halftime.
I'm kind of mad because we've been talking for an hour. My wife has been watching Betty La Fea,
And you've
and
been missing it all.
I've been missing it out, dude. And she doesn't let me catch up, so I have to get back on it.
All
Because
right.
right
Well, you
now,
get on
Ecomoda.
that. If you don't know what he's talking about,
You know, Betty La Fea is global.
global. I mean, it's
It's
global. It's everywhere.
global.
It's everywhere. India, Egypt, you name it.
They
All
have a
right.
bunch
Well,
of remakes. All right,
yeah,
man.
I know. Well, all right, Juli, we're out of here. We went way past our bedtime, so we'll go ahead and post this up. And I'll see you next week on the Poleros
With a
podcast, man.
cold brew.
Yeah,
With
this
a
time a cold
cold
brew.
brew.
I promise it'll be a cold brew. Hopefully we
Please,
can actually
man.
just link up instead of
We're
doing it
role
remote.
models now. All right. We're influencers. We have to set the correct. We have to set the correct example. Man, drink beer.
I'm like Charles Barkley, man. I'm not a role model. All right, guys,
All
we're
right,
out
man.
of here, man.
Take care, guys.